Good morning, families. I'm Brenda Crosier, and it is very nice to meet you. I wanted to give you a tour this morning of some of the things that we do in class so that on your first day of class, it doesn't feel overwhelming, but you kind of get it. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to share my screen. What I have for you this morning is a document. And the document, I'll show it to you in just a moment. It gives us the things that we need for class. So for example, in the document, there are Zoom links, and it'll tell you which link you can click on in order to get into class. And there's also a link to ziteboard.com, which is our whiteboard. It happens to be where I'm typing right now. And so it's just a website. But each board for our class is private so that we can all draw and doodle at the same time, which really helps us to stay engaged as a class. It makes it more fun. So there's a link for Ziteboard, and again, I'll show you in just a moment. There's also a link to Google Classroom. Google Classroom, it sounds like a place where we would meet together as a class, but it's basically just a homework portal. It's where you find out what your homework is and turn in your homework. And then the last two things I have in this particular list is that there are 2 books for every writing class, and there's 1 book and an IXL.com login for every math class. If your school already provides IXL.com for you as a family, then use that login. If you don't have that, I have a login for your student. Okay, so let's look at the document that I'm talking about. And it was shared in the email that you received to get this video in the first place. Okay, it looks like a flood of information, but notice that if I'm in pre-algebra, I have the Zoom link that I use to get into class. I have my link to get onto Ziteboard. And I have a link to join Google Classroom. And the first time it'll ask you, would you like to join this class? And we'll of course click yes. After that, it doesn't ask anymore. And really all I need to do is go to classroom.google.com. I don't have to follow this link every time. Once I get here, really, classwork is just the tab that I go to most often. There is a little bit in Stream, just information, right? Here's my email address, which is actually mistyped. I should probably spell my last name correctly, I-E-R. We'll be back to fix that. But there's also my phone number. And then right here is a syllabus that explains how class works and the class policies that we have. And here's a bit of information about the calendar and what This is a different way that some people log in every day for class. They just come to the calendar, they click on their class, and then they copy and paste their link, and they follow that to get to class. There is, on this calendar, a drop-in help hour. Let's zoom in a bit, shall we? There's a drop-in help hour every Monday from 12 to 1. It's also on Thursdays from 12 to 1. Any student from any class can and should come in to ask questions. If you're stuck on something in math, or you don't understand how to use Ziteboard, for example, come on in during that time. I have 2 hours per week where I'm just available for you to help out. Okay, so those are the things that are on our document. Let's take a look at some of the things that might take place during class. Let's go to, well, let's add them in here. So notice that Ziteboard is a zoomable whiteboard, and that's where the name comes from. Zooming and whiteboard have been combined together into one new name. Let's throw, yes, we'll throw these on our screen so we can see them. These are images of what we do in writing class. And for math class, I can show you when we are in class the first day. I think, though, that the writing class might need a little bit of explaining just so that it doesn't seem overwhelming the very first day. Let's do this. I love you, Dana. Okay, there we go. So here's what we have. You'll notice that on the board, there are different outlines. It's basically taking notes. This one right here is an outline for the story of King Midas. You can tell that each line has 3 words or less. Okay, technically, this one has 4 words, but I'm noticing that she put it in parentheses, and that means that when she did this by hand, she drew a necklace on her page. The reason that we use only 3 words per idea is because then we won't accidentally plagiarize later. We won't accidentally write it the same way that our original source was written. We take notes from a source and then we write it again and we make it even better. Here's another example of a keyword outline. And on this outline, you'll notice some highlighting. Notice how in the green, the words are the same. Okay, they're almost the same. Antarctica is repeated. The word continent is repeated. The word cold and ice reflect each other. And our rule is that the last sentence in our paragraph, we call it a clincher. The last sentence in our paragraph should repeat or reflect at least 2 keywords from the very first sentence, from the topic sentence. And so already in this person's outline, they're prepared to write their paper and not miss their clincher. You'll notice that on the very last, oh, here, we'll look at this one again. I can tell that their first sentence, when they write it, will be something about how the coldest temperature ever taken on the Earth was in 1983, and it was negative 128 degrees. Notice that down at the bottom, their last sentence might say, this really is a location that has the coldest temperatures on Earth. The sentences aren't identical, but they reflect each other. They repeat or reflect at least 2 keywords from the topic sentence and the clincher. Okay, so that's one outline. Here's one that was written by just drawing. And again, only 3 words are allowed. Unlimited symbols are allowed. Unlimited abbreviations. DR for doctor, that doesn't count as one of your 3 words. MR for Mr. doesn't count for one of your 3 words. A plus sign for more, perfect. And so this is how we take notes in our class. When the time comes that we write, this one happens to be from a high school class, you'll notice that as they rewrite their paper, there is highlighting that we do. If you look carefully, you'll notice that all of the green highlights happen to end in ly. They're ly adverbs. We learn what that is, we use it, and then we show that we've used it through highlighting in our final paper that we turn in. You'll notice that the red ones are a who, which clause. The orange ones are a because clause. And all of the blue ones that this author has used show strong verbs, really great strong verbs, like waned and insisted. And so there's highlighting that takes place before we turn in our final project, and that helps us to make sure that we have all of the things that we've been looking for. We will usually learn one element included in that week. The next week we'll include an ly adverb again, but add in a who, which clause. And the week after that, we'll be sure that there's an ly adverb and a who, which clause, but then we'll probably include a because clause as well. And by the time we're done with the school year, they have all different types of literary tools to use, and they know what they are, and they know where to use them, and they know whether or not it needs a comma. That's how our writing classes go. Okay, if you have any questions, please be sure to let me know. I am here to help. And the document that I shared with you gives you all of the things that you'll need. And now you have a bit of perspective on what we do in class. And I look forward to seeing you there. Goodbye, you guys.